Hey y'all. Y'all got me out here on a full moon. Hey. On the Goons internet. Coming in, chiming in to talk to y'all. Especially those of y'all in my community here, right here, off of Harrison Street, Thibodaux. Talk to my Thibodaux community, and just community of black folks overall. Um, just because lately, uh, a lot of us have just been talking about mental health is real and take care of your mental health. But you know what? Lately I had to ask myself, what does that even mean realistically? What does that mean for the people in my community? I know for a long time I just would think when we said that, that just meant tell people to go to therapy, right? Simple. And after I just been sitting with that a lot more, I had to really have to ask myself, does that even really make sense? To tell my community of black folks, especially down here in these small southern towns where everybody know everybody, just to go to therapy? And it's like, no, that doesn't make sense. There's an important part of understanding why people in these small communities don't go to therapy, or just black folks overall, and just people overall, but definitely my people, is when we thinking about these small southern towns, we don't want nobody in our business. Everybody know everybody, and when we think about going, tell somebody our businesses, exposing our weaknesses and our vulnerabilities, there's so much history, cultural history around why that just isn't safe, um, and why we don't do that. I remember I was talking to my son one time about going to therapy, and he just told me straight up, I'm not about to go talk to nobody and tell nobody, a stranger, my business. And I was just like, wow, I just had to sit with that and be like, there's so much wisdom there. Not just wisdom around safety right now, him as an adult, but and a teenager at the time, but wisdom from our ancestors in that. That wasn't safe for our ancestors to be exposed, any of our weaknesses to be exposed during these hundreds of years of slavery on this land. Um, that wasn't safe for people to know about your personal life, whether it was uh, good or bad. It wasn't safe that people can know that you can read. Um, it might get you sold. It might get you beaten. It just wasn't safe for people to know anything personal about you as a person, because that could jeopardize your safety and well-being, and even happiness sometimes in so many ways. And it's crazy to think that that's still some of the stories that we carry today. Um, that pattern of ways of thinking and ways of how do we survive, and that's just how trauma works. You know, that's how I was raised too. To keep your business, keep your family business a secret. Even though pandemonium is happening all around, nobody's talking about it, but everybody's just talking about it behind each other's back. So everybody finding out your business anyway, and nobody's truly happy anyway. But we have to keep this way of being, this pattern of pattern. Um, but it just ain't working. It just ain't working. It hadn't worked then, and it's not working now. So I was just like, okay, so what would really be helpful in this moment in time, coming from me, knowing that I do this work in the community, I do trauma work in the community, especially for my people. How can I meet us where we are and keep it simple for me and others, and still be able to support and care for my people that are hurting, what was helpful for me at the time when I first started this journey. And for me, it's like to make this mental health stuff easier to understand and more accessible to me and where I'm coming from, the Ridge, Johnson Ridge, small country town. Again, that was conditioned and taught that keep your business a secret, out of safety. So what would be helpful is to give the power to the people. Let you all see about your own selves. Let you all see that you have the ability to go see about yourself, to check in with yourself without having to go and go to therapy, without having to go talk to nobody about your business. Just see about yourself for yourself. So this is what this post is about. I've attached to this post also the way you can go as a first step to see about yourself. And that is this ACE test. So this ACE check-in is called Adverse Childhood Experiences, ACE, ACE. That helps you to reflect on your childhood or your first 18 years of life with these very important questions. So to answer the question, you would put a 1 for yes if you had this experience, or 0 for no. And so these are some experiences of abuse, trauma, neglect, and harm that could possibly have had a big impact on you as a child and still be impacting you today without you even knowing it. It doesn't matter if you're young or you're old, you didn't graduate from middle school, or you graduated from high school, or you graduated from technical college, or you got a PhD, you're married, you're divorced, you're single, you're partnered, you live in an apartment, or you have a white picket fence with 2.5 kids and a dog. There's experiences in life, especially if you experience one of these, that affects us every single day, that affects how we show up in life, that affects how we make decisions, that affects the relationships we choose and how we're in relationships with other people. It does not matter. This affects all of us. So while any one of these events alone could be affecting you, the more ones you have in these boxes, the greater impacts that these traumatic experiences could be possibly having on your mental health today. There's so many links now that we're finding out between these types of traumatic events and chronic disease, substance abuse, increased risk of depression, suicide, weakened immune system, behavior challenges, all types of things, all types of health problems in our community have been linked to these stressful events, or adverse events, or traumatic events. So this is just a test. This is just a guide for you to this is the first step to go see about yourself. You see about yourself. You in a room alone while you're at work. Nobody gotta know what you're doing while you're scrolling. You answer these questions. It's just the first step, and in many cases it can even help us to identify buried issues that we've buried for many years. When we start to just be honest with ourselves and say, yeah, this thing happened to me, and this could possibly be affecting what's happening to me in this moment in time in my life. In some ways, in some cases, again, there are multiple other factors, because we still live in a world, in these systems, right, that also affect us, harmful systems and things like that. But again, we're just going to start with this first step, for you to go see about yourself. That's the you go see about yourself first. Check. So inbox me if you have any questions. No cost, no judgment. You don't have to share any deep details. Just inbox me if you're curious about all this mental health stuff, like what people talking about. I've answered some of these questions, and I can honestly say some of these things happened to me. And if you're saying, Simone, this could possibly be affecting me, I'm open to that. I'm open to that. And I want to get curious about how this shows up in my life. So that's something that you could just be honest with yourself about. Again, you ain't got to tell nobody this, but just the first step, go see about yourself. Answer these questions. All right. Sending y'all so much love and care, and I will talk to y'all soon. Peace.